On the left we have the S4 DL501 DSG, which is the PWW engine code. And then on the right is the B9 Audi A4 2018 DSG, which is the DL382 transmission. Comparing it side by side, they're practically the same thing. Starter positions in the same spot. This should be a simple bolt-on on the 2018 engine for my 2013 A4. So the CVT transmission T16 plug is not the same as the S4 DSG. We had to get the T16 plug from the S4 wiring harness. Let's hope the battery is fully charged for a full crank. It's still dead.
Definitely recognize that car. I know that car very well. I wonder what it's doing.
Yeah, buddy. Part 2. Just picked up my car from the dealership again. And let's show you what we got when we get home. Nothing feels good like getting gas at Costco. Yeah, baby. But before I get straight into any more details in this video, let me just take the time and say thank you. Thank you to everybody who has been a part of this project. Thank you to my family for helping me out. Thank you to all my supporters who have been behind my back supporting this build and respecting this build for the past 2.5 years. Thank you to my followers, my fans, my audience for being patient for the past 2.5 years with this build. Yes, this car has been parked for 2.5 years, but I actually didn't start working on it until January 2021, actually putting in the work into this car. So technically, from January 2021 to the end of May is when this project actually really started becoming a reality, because the past couple of years I've just been researching, collecting parts, saving money, and so on. And it's been difficult because this is a project nobody's ever done. Therefore, I am the first person in the world to have a 2013 A4 with a B8.5 S4 DSG and a B9 CYMC engine. I'm the #1 person. On top of that, thank you Kyle at Math Performance for finally sending me the turbo that I ordered 4 months ago, which is a Zana rotor turbo. I will explain the specs a little bit later in my other YouTube videos, but now you know what turbo I'm basically running. If you can find the specs, congratulations. I'm not going to tell you just yet until I have this car running, but I got the front powder coated in shiny red and the tile rear housing in black. Ooh boy, I cannot wait. So much power. And if you're familiar with the E888 Gen 3 engines, they come with a plastic oil pan. Well, I got an aluminum oil pan that got powder coated red. And because we have all these parts, yes, I've been showing off these parts for the longest time, my forged rods and pistons. We're finally going to start building the other engine in my donor B89 Audi. Basically, this car is a stock engine to get the car running and driving, and then at the same time, we're going to be building the other engine. So then, once we have the other engine built, we just do a swap, plug and play, and then this is going to be my backup engine in case anything happens. I just swap out the parts, the turbo, the rods, and whatever, and it goes into this one right here. So this is pretty awesome. Everything is coming to play. basically my years of research are finally paying off. Unfortunately, I am going to be real with you guys. My car does not start yet due to these factors. So let's start off with the transmission side. You see that lever with the bracket with that ball at the end? If I zoom out, that is my DSG S4 transmission. It is on the right side. On my A4 CVT, it was on this side. So my shifter level wire assembly is not compatible with this transmission, so I had to go buy the S4 one. Therefore, this should work with no issue. It's on the correct side, and it has the long extension and the bracket to fit perfectly on the S4 DSG because that's made for the transmission. The second portion would be this right here. As you can see now, my software version with the TCU is older. It's running at a 0003 version when there is a software version of 0005, which is an issue with my ECU because my ECU is actually older software version than my TCM, which is causing incompatibility issues as shown in these pictures. Therefore, once I update my ECM to the newest software version, my car can then read the transmission perfectly fine instead of saying giving me this issue code, and then I could actually engage it. And you guys may actually have questions as to why my local Audi dealership in South Florida, Audi Pembroke Pines, located in the United States, was unable to successfully install these two updates for the TCM and ECU. Is because one, this ECU is basically off of a 2014 Audi A5 Sportback European spec ECU, so they're not able to just go on Germany's Audi database and just grab these updates from the cloud and just install them here remotely. It's a little bit more out of my technical realm to understand as to why this is not possible. Unless they could probably go to Audi Corporate North America, they contact Germany, Germany has contacts and all this other stuff. That's a bit more out of my realm of knowledge, but basically that's why Audi was unable to do it. Even if I have the software files, the bin, the SGO, the FRF files, for some reason Audi told me they were still not able to install it, maybe because of European versions with the software on the computer, with the ECM and all this other stuff. I just don't know entirely sure, but as far as I know, I do have all these files, the correct software version files for these, for the ECU and TCM, and as long as I take it to a local tuner or a place that's able to do a bench flash on the ECU and TCM, they'll be able to directly install that software update, and then my car can actually communicate perfectly fine without giving me any codes. Yes, everything talks perfectly via CAN bus. I can read it, every module via OBD, which is good news, very good news. But obviously the DSG won't engage and it won't be placed into gear, and I'm still having codes until I get that sorted out. I just had to put it out there so you guys know. So back to the engine ECM. Another issue is I'm not getting power to my coil packs or cam A and B adjuster solenoids. So these wires, I found out they lead up to this B9 A4 engine wire in this plug. I still have no idea where these three go. I haven't figured that out yet. But for the most part, I did get a few of them. This one, a few of them going here. I even got the O2 sensors finally pinned in correctly. And with the cam adjusters, it's supposed to connect to the fuse box, but since I can't really add a fuse at the moment to make it 100% OEM, I just decided to do a little bit of a shortcut, a temporary fix, which is wire up the cam A and B adjusters all the way to the rear. The reason I did this is because you'll see it in a second. Alright, and I had a 15 amp fuse. If you look at the underside, you'll see that it gets all its power from one thick red wire, which is the same concept as in the B9 A4, but the B9 A4 has that same concept up in the front, either in the left driver's side footwell or somewhere in the engine bay. I'm not entirely sure, but remember, we're using a B8.5 Gen 3 harness for this. A mixture of the B9, which practically all this stays original, and this is the B8.5. So this is a pretty crazy build. But another issue we're having as well, as the battery is completely flat. Because it's flat, we're getting issues with cranking it up, even if it's on a charger. I even placed my brand new Porsche 911 battery in the car, and we're still having issues cranking up the car. Another good news now is that the safe mode has been removed. So if we press the key in the brakes, yeah, I don't know what happened. I feel like that's a starter issue. This car's only been cranked up about 10 times total. Cranked it up for about 5 to 10 seconds, stopped it, waited about 5 to 10 minutes in order to do another crank up, since we don't want to overheat the starter and cause any wires to melt. So you see how it's in park? At least it reads the transmission to TCM, which is awesome. We're gonna zoom out a bit, and then I'm gonna go into my engine bay. And then I'm gonna put the car in a different position. So let's put it in. I believe that's drive. Remember that lever with the ball point? Well, now, if I zoom in, it's actually in neutral right now. So let me put it in park or in reverse. I believe that's park. It's a pretty cool troubleshooting tip, since I don't have the S4 transmission level selector installed just yet, so therefore this is the only way to put it in park, neutral, reverse, and drive. So unfortunately we wouldn't even be able to get the transmission even engaged because the flywheel was not bolted on because we forgot. It doesn't matter because we still have to take out the transmission to install that anyways, since there's literally no space to pull out the A4 one out and install that one. We do have to take it again, but that's not a big issue. The biggest concern now is getting this engine to crank. At least now the car's not showing up in safe mode like it used to, because what Audi did was they basically took care of the component protection and the mobilizer for the ECU and TCM. So big shout out to Audi Pembroke Pines, shout out to shop foreman Todd, and shout out to my service advisor Eileen for helping me out with this project, because if it wasn't for you guys, this would have taken a lot longer than usual. But thank you so much for accepting this, and I'll be back for the TCM reprogramming for the ECM because the software versions are not correct. Once I take it to a professional tuner like USP, maybe they could update the software with a bench flash and actually allow not only the transmission to engage after I put the flywheel in and the level transmission shifter, it means that I'll be able to start the car and drive it after I fix some of these shorts in the system, as well as the battery. The battery is completely flat and I need a new battery. And before I end this video, here's the Quattro A4 gas tank. Cannot wait to have it installed once I go Quattro all dry. And let's just take a second to say fuck you to my haters, because you're wrong. You thought I was gonna part out the car, you thought I was gonna sell the car, you thought I was gonna give up on the car. You also told me that this car would never start, this car would never drive, this car would never have the engine bolted on. You told me that I would never have an A4 engine in this car. You told me I'll never get the S4 DSG bolted on. You told me that this car, all this other stuff, but you know what? I'm still doing it without you. Anyways, that is it, folks. Apart from that, thank you for your support and patience. We will have this car running up pretty soon. There's obviously delays because nobody in this world has ever done this project, so stop giving me shit, okay? Because this is something that requires a lot of brain power and knowledge. I'm sure 70 to 90% of you guys have no idea how to do this kind of project. And I'm doing this not only with the help of other people, but myself. So this was exhausting, and just stay tuned for the next video because I mean, I get a lot of false hope that I'll have my engine and I'll have my car running, but you know what? I set goals and I'm achieving them slowly. So, yeah. Peace out.